Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining here on Unapologetic Progressive. Once again, I am back with another video, and this time we're going to talk about autism and acetaminophen. If you recall, the Trump administration just yesterday announced that they are warning women against using acetaminophen during pregnancy, a pain reliever that is considered to be the safest pain reliever for pregnant women. It just is. Their findings yesterday and their report yesterday flies in the face of decades, and I mean decades, of research into autism and into the safety of acetaminophen during pregnancy. There have been decades of research. There has been no direct cause and effect linked to autism to Tylenol and acetaminophen. There just hasn't been. There have been some correlations, but remember, correlation does not equal causation. So there is no scientific data to back this up. There's no scientific proof to back this up. Now, I'm fairly certain that people aren't going to just willy-nilly take medications while they're pregnant. I'm pretty certain of that. I've known a number of women who had children, and while they were pregnant, they did not take anything that they didn't absolutely have to. What's weird about this whole thing is Trump even says they shouldn't use it unless they have a high fever or something serious. Like, why else are you going to take medication? I seriously doubt most people who are pregnant are just out there, downing bottles of acetaminophen for a party. I just don't think that's the case. But what this does is fly in the face of science and facts. Why? Because Trump and RFK Jr. do not believe in science or facts. RFK Jr. has no history in healthcare, no history in science. He has a history being anti-science, being, anti-fact, right? He doesn't care about your health. He thinks he has all this stuff figured out when he doesn't. He's just a lunatic and a conspiracy theorist. That is all RFK Jr. is. And then he sits there and talks about how doctors say a brain-eating worm ate part of his brain. And then you want people to wonder why he comes up with this crazy stuff. There's nothing linking autism to women taking acetaminophen during pregnancy. In fact, organizations over gynecological organizations all say that acetaminophen is the safest pain reliever, over-the-counter pain reliever, for a pregnant woman to take. Period. Now, I'm not saying that in the future we won't be able to link, actually have scientific data that links the two. But right now, all we have is like anecdotal ideas in situations, right? We don't have any actual facts here. Because the data continues to show that it's the safest pain reliever for them to take. So take Trump's announcement today and RFK Jr.'s announcement today with a grain of salt. Because they're lying to you. We have 40, 50 years of study on this. Right? And they're going to say they have cured it or found the cause of autism in 8 months. Not even that, because RFK Jr. wasn't on the job immediately. So maybe 7, 8 months, and they've magically found the cause of autism. Bullshit. From everything that I have read, studies I have seen, autism isn't something that's going to be easily figured out why it happens. Because they've been trying for decades. And I don't believe Tylenol is your culprit. Like, what are people thinking? How do you believe the stuff coming out of these people's mouths? Remember, RFK Jr. is the one that told an entire population of an island to not get vaccinated. Then large numbers of their population died out due to the measles because they didn't get vaccinated, right? And we're going to trust him? A man who believes that all vaccines are bad, that now thinks that we should push all the vaccines that children take till they're 4 or 5 years old, when those diseases could kill them before then? These people they're not serious. They're not serious people. They don't care about your health. The whole "Make America Healthy Again" is just a ploy to get certain people to support them, and it's a lie. If they were worried about actual things that could actually cause people harm, they'd be working to fight pollution. Air pollution, groundwater pollution. They would be fixing the water situation in Flint, Michigan. They're not. They're not. They're not doing anything to help people. In fact, they're loosening regulations to protect our groundwater supply and our air. So don't tell me the Trump administration gives a damn about my health or your health. That's a big pile of dog shit, and you know it. Like I said, there's no evidence for any of this. I would love there to be an easy solution to autism. Not because I believe autism is necessarily something for everybody that needs to be cured. But I do follow a number of people who are parents to people who have profound autism. And if there's an easy way for them to take care of their children and get this to where it wasn't causing them a problem, they would do it in a heartbeat. I follow one person on Facebook whose child has profound autism and talks about how not just terrifying it is for her, but how terrible it is for him. And talks about the things that happens because they can't control, him, and he can't control himself. Right? Those people need a cure, but they don't need people, acting like there's a solution when there's not. They don't need lies. They need help. And that's the thing about science too. Is science changes when you have new data. Science doesn't change just because you feel differently or because you don't agree with it. Science is science, regardless of if you believe it or not. So if there's ever a study that comes out, a peer-reviewed study that can be replicated, that Tylenol has a direct link to people developing autism, I'll believe it. But there isn't something like that right now. That doesn't exist at this current juncture. So what this is just a bunch of BS being pushed by a man who has no clue about how anything works. And that goes for both RFK Jr. and Donald Trump. Because neither one of them are men of science. Neither one of them know a damn thing about science. It just is what it is. But anyhow, that's what I got for you today. I hope you're having a good day. See you later on this week.